By the looks of my watch, it's officially grave time. Hey folks, it's been quite a while since I've made a great cemetery video. Over the summer I filmed a lot of material, and most specifically the very first week of June, which was my 44th birthday, went down to Southern California and filmed as many cemeteries as possible. And this particular one is Hillside Memorial Park, located in Culver City. Here I wanted to visit the grave of Leonard Nimoy, and I'm about ready to tell you why, and it's not because I'm a Trekkie.
This series presents information based in part on theory and conjecture. The producer's purpose is to suggest some possible explanations, but not necessarily the only ones, to the mysteries we will examine.
The TV show In Search Of is how I would come to know about Leonard Nimoy, not because of Star Trek. The TV show ran from 1976 through 1982 with a total of 144 episodes, all about history and strange phenomena. My 8th grade school season, which would be 94 to 95, in science class, when my teacher wasn't there, sometimes we'd have to watch educational videos. And on 2 occasions, we watched In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy. The episodes I remember very vividly. The first one was the Bermuda Triangle, and the second one was about the Loch Ness Monster. And a year prior, in 7th grade at James Rudder Middle School, when I was fearful of being bullied at school, I would hide out in the library, and that's where I'd find books on the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, poltergeists, UFOs, and other strange phenomena. So my junior high school year was very crucial for me, learning about the strange things that would eventually become part of my everyday life today. It's interesting that the TV show In Search Of came out during the latter part of the 1970s, because the greater part of the 1970s was interesting. There were a lot of UFO sightings, ghostly encounters, and Bigfoot sightings. And this era is known as the era of high strangeness. Now today people don't use that term, they use the word paranormal. But all sorts of weird things were happening during this decade. Just an amazing amount of supernatural activity. Leonard Simon Nimoy, born on March 26, 1931 in Boston, Massachusetts. Passed away on February 27, 2015 in Los Angeles, California from complications of OCPD at the age of 83. It's common for people to leave trinkets and items at a person's grave. I left a button from my band Light the Way in lieu of our bassist Evan Sides, who is a fan of Star Trek. And since he couldn't be there with me, I wanted to leave that there, and I took a picture of it and I told him, this is in lieu of you. I also left a grave time sticker unsticked, wedged it underneath some of the rocks. It was my way of showing my appreciation to Leonard Nimoy and In Search Of. As a lot of my content has become more than just cemeteries, there is also other strange things that I do, which are similar to the TV show In Search Of. And so this is my token of appreciation. If you're a fan of Columbo, like myself, You may remember when Leonard Nimoy played the villain on an episode of Columbo in 1973, the title A Stitch in Crime. Most recently on an episode of Coast to Coast with George Noory, the guest was Adam Nimoy, who is Leonard Nimoy's son, promoting a book called The Most Human. There he shared stories about his father, and I want to share some of those excerpts from that interview with you all. In this audio clip, you'll hear Adam Nimoy talk about the TV show In Search Of.
And I'll always remember him in Search Of, because I love that show, and it's like our radio program.
Well, exactly. In Search Of was something that was of great interest to him, and it was a real godsend because you have to understand, George, that in the 1970s, nobody from Star Trek was making any money. All the residuals had run out. And even though the show was in syndication 5 days a week, it was, Paramount that was making the money, but no actors were being paid, and Gene Roddenberry certainly wasn't being paid. So the fact that In Search Of was there and was really kind of like sustained us during this period of the 1970s, enabling my father to do the theater work he wanted. Theater does not pay, but it's very creatively challenging and satisfying. And my dad really loved that career, but it was In Search Of that really helped pay the bills during that period.
Adam now tells George Noory who his father was inspired by.
Lon Chaney really inspired him because he was so versatile, and Paul Mooney was a big, a big idol of his. And I learned to love Paul Mooney by watching some of these movies from the 1930s, The Good Earth and Juarez, and my favorite, I Am a Fugitive from a Chain Gang. I mean, I really could see what he was going for, and those kind of role models that he was trying to model himself after.
Even though I'm not a fan of Star Trek, I am not going to withhold this information. Adam is asked the question from George Noory about his father's Spock ears, and I found it very interesting because it's a little bit of movie magic information.
Digging deeper about the Spock character, I didn't know that Charles Schramm is the guy who really invented the ears. Now, Charles Schramm was a makeup artist at MGM and worked on Wizard of Oz. So, these little factoids were things that kept coming up that my dad was remembering and sharing with me.
What did your dad think of the ears?
Well, at first, the ears were a struggle because Gene Roddenberry wanted them, but they were having difficulty in creating them. They were working with a kind of a makeup, a special effects house that could make big monster alien makeup. They were very good at that, but the ears were much more challenging. It's very refined. You have to have a real craftsmanship to create something that looks authentic, like it's really a part of the person's body. And he talked about this a lot in the documentary, and that's why Fred Phillips, who was Dad's makeup artist, is the guy who decided at the very last minute to run over to Schramm at MGM and have him create the prototypes. And it happened very quickly, and that is what they used for the rest of the series. Now, they were going to give up because they couldn't really create something that was believable. And it was Gene Roddenberry, according to my father, who insisted that he make it happen. It was a critical part of the character, and we're forever grateful that he stuck to his guns on that one.
Did he ever bring the ears home, and did you ever use them?
We had plenty of ears. He brought them home. I only used them when I did the walk-on the blooper reel. But he had a set that I inherited that was for the original series, which I donated to the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. And they're there now for the public to go and see the ears that I like to say the ears that launched 1,000 starships. So we definitely, and then I have a pair from the movies. I occasionally get a text message from Ben Stiller with a picture of his collection. He's got a collection of Spock ears that he's very proud of.
All right, here it is, the last and final clip that I want to share with you with Adam Nimoy and George Noory on Coast to Coast, talking about the Live Long and Prosper hand sign.
I got to ask you, Adam, are you able to do that 4-finger hand wave that your dad was so famous for?
Yeah, George, I'm able to do it, thankfully, at least on my left hand. My right hand simply will not cooperate.
I can't do it on either hand. I've tried since I was a kid, but I just can't do it.
Well, a lot of people don't know that my dad invented that based on a tradition we have in the Jewish tradition on Yom Kippur. The rabbis use it to bless the congregation. It stands for the letter Shin, which represents the word Shaddai, the Almighty, one of the many names for God. And my dad sort of, appropriated it from Jewish tradition, and it's become a symbol of goodwill all over the world.
If you enjoyed the interview with Adam Nimoy with George Noory on Coast to Coast AM, I will have a link down below in the description. If this is your first time watching Grave Time, be sure to subscribe to my channel and also hit that notification bell so you can be in the loop of the next Grave Time adventure. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up because that's how the algorithms work. You give it a thumbs up, it brings people into my channel. It was a pleasure to visit Leonard Nimoy's grave here at Hillside Memorial Park Cemetery in Culver City. As always, thank you for watching. God bless you all and have a wonderful day. Bye.